Got another great episode of the Relevant Recruiter Show and another amazing guest. This is our fourth episode this year. Actually, it's our third episode this year. But today I'm joined by Alistair Neal. He is the founder of Paiger, and Paiger is a SaaS platform from staffing agencies that enables sales teams to identify, research, and nurture clients on social media. I've had a chance to do this demo with Alistair beforehand, and I can tell you guys that we have an awesome show in store. But before we get to the demo, we're going to talk a little bit with Alistair and his experience in this industry. Alistair, welcome. Thank you for joining me, man.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, man. So where are you at in the world right now? Where are you living?
Yeah, so home base is Newport Beach, but with the pandemic and working from home, I've bounced up to Montana for the winter. Do a little rustic backwoods cabin Airbnb just to get out of the city for a bit.
Sweet. Montana and Newport Beach. There's got to be a little bit of difference there, I would guess.
Just a little bit. So.
Sweet. So I know we were talking beforehand. You're not getting too many powder days up there, huh?
No, it's been a pretty rough year in terms of snow. It hasn't snowed once since I've been here, and I've been here for just about a month now. And then looking at the 10-day forecast, nothing's coming. So you go try and be a ski bum for a little bit, and then Mother Nature fights against you.
That's funny. Yeah, for you guys that are listening live with us, give us a like, give us some love. Let other people know that we're here. Give us a comment so we're assured that you can hear us today. So Alistair, how did you get started in the recruiting industry?
Yeah, so funny enough, I was out of college. I had a buddy of mine, and we were bouncing around, and he showed up one day with a new car. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing for work that you're rolling in here with a new car? Because I know you're not that bright or that special. And he told me about this company he's working for, and I started knocking on the door till they let me in.
Sweet. And where was the first kind of start at?
Yeah, so my first start was with Broadbeach Technology, which is a job distribution platform. They're still in business, still out there cranking. They got acquired by CareerBuilder 4 years ago, which is pretty funny because CareerBuilder is a job board. All their money is about getting their clients, hey, we're the only job board you need, give us all your money. And then they acquired a job distribution platform whose mechanism is give us one job and we'll send it to a whole bunch of job boards. So we thought that strategically was not the greatest decision for them. And then recently CareerBuilder's just been getting their butts kicked pretty hard. So a couple of us left and then launched a new company.
Got it. And so is that where you're at now with Paiger?
Funny enough, waiting for other people to leave Broadbeach, I acted as a recruiter at a small recruiting firm for a couple of months just to get to know the other side of the business for a little bit. And then once everybody else on the team was ready to leave, we launched Paiger.
Sweet. So I know Paiger's pretty cool tool, that you showed me, but what did you guys what inspired you guys to start the platform?
What it was is cold calling. Like the sales world has changed, right? Previously, You could pick up the phone and somebody at the other end would pick it up, or you at least get to talk to a gatekeeper. Now with caller ID and everything else, people really just don't answer the phone. So then everybody kind of moved to email, and email used to be a great thing. And now everybody's just going straight to the spam box. Email is not the best way to get in touch with people anymore. So especially if it's just like robotic, standard cold, like mass emails, right? Like when's the last time you actually opened a mass email? Unless it's hyper personalized and shows that person has done a little bit of research, they're never going to open that email. So that's kind of why we launched Pagers, is to set it up where people can know what they need to know to reach out to somebody successfully. And once they've reached out and made a connection with somebody, the sales cycles tend to be long, right? Like when's the last time you had a one call close? It's been a long time, or at least since I had a one call close. I mean, maybe you guys are better salespeople, but one call closes don't really exist so much anymore, especially for technology or recruiting services, right? Because you may be an expert in Java developers. The person's like, we're not hiring those right now. And you're like, great, but you will be at some point in time. So how often do you call them? So it's about finding who to talk to, researching what you need to know to open up a conversation with them. And once you've got the door open, how do you nurture that client? How do you stay relevant to them? How do you become almost a thought leader in your space, so that every time they see your name pop up on LinkedIn, they're like, oh, that person, and just staying forefront of mind from a, kind of acting like as marketer, even though you're really a salesperson. So that's what we wanted to accomplish when we were building the platform.
Got it. Do you feel like you guys have accomplished that? I know you guys have it's probably evolved beyond your wildest dreams at this point, but with where you're at right now, do you feel like you kind of are hitting that goal?
We're certainly on the way, right? Like the second you say your software is done, you're going to get left behind.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You know, the second you stop evolving, you'll be, especially with software because it moves so quickly, you'll be obsolete. You know,
Mm-hmm.
in a week or two. So we're constantly developing, bringing new features, and a lot of the stuff that we're building and creating is client feedback driven. Like, hey, we're doing this manually. How can we turn that into an automated process? So that's really what we strive for when we're continuing to develop the software is responding to the client needs and also trying to be a bit innovative. Because going back to Henry Ford, he said, you know, if you ask people what they want, they tell you make a faster horse. So there's a bit of the flip side of that, not just what the clients want, but what can we create that clients may not even know that they need until they can't live without it.
Right. Well, I know working in this industry, you know, some of the things you're saying with cold calling, cold email, that's definitely kind of the go-tos for everybody. And just like you're saying, some people might think that that's the only way to still do it. And there's a lot of other opportunities out there, like through social media and things like that, that create, you know, even a bigger response than what you're seeing from some of those efforts.
Yeah. I like to think of it as once you connect to somebody on LinkedIn, you know, now what? Right?
Right.
Where you're just going to message them all day long, those get ignored. Most LinkedIn inboxes are ignored and everything. So you have to figure out a way to develop your brand and stay relevant for those folks without just being an email spammer. Right.
Right. Got it. So, and I mean, that's one of the things that I really help people with. And so that's why everything that you're saying, like, is always aligned with me is, you know, making it easier essentially for a recruiter to become a marketer and, you know, a thought leader and authority in their market space. And that's really what you're trying to accomplish with this platform.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Beautiful. Well, let's, if you don't mind sharing, let's
take a peek behind the hood.
Take a peek behind the hood here.
All right. So what the platform does is I'm going to boil it down to a few different things. So the first thing you want to do, a lot of recruiting and recruitment sales comes down to timing. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the Identify tab and identify clients that might be in a good spot for you to reach out to them, or you have a relevant news article to reach out to them, and also know, hey, do they have money? Have they just received funding? Is there a new hire? Are they expanding? Have they acquired somebody? Or are they restructuring? Which all tend to be triggers for to make recruitment decisions, either on the business development side or for acquisitions restructuring. There are typically lots of candidates available because they either hate their new boss when they get acquired, like myself. We don't like career builders, so we all left out. That would be a great time to reach out to me. I would have taken a job. Or restructuring. Right. People become redundant. So it's all good triggers there. So let's take a look and see. Let's just look for California and do a funding alert. Okay, so now we're going to see all typically startups or sometimes big companies that have just received some money. So here we got Moto Refi, OnFly, Present. These are all companies that have just gotten money. Typically, money means hiring. People doing hiring, especially with startups, they're not going to have a whole talent acquisition team. So it's a great time as a recruiter to reach out to those folks. So I like these results that are popping up here. I'm going to set up a daily funding alert for everybody that's getting funding in California or my state or my city. I could put in multiple alerts here. Okay.
Beautiful.
So now when I roll in the morning, I'm going to have, hey, these are the 15 companies that'd be worthwhile for me to reach out to that day. Appointments, it's a bit British English there, but it's basically new hires or promotions that are newsworthy. So I could look for, diversity and inclusion is a hot item right now. So I'm going to do a search for diversity and inclusion. A great time to reach out. Somebody gets promoted or has a new hire. It's a great time to reach out and get a quick win. So here we can see we got a new person over at Herman Miller. We got a new person over here at GTB, eBay, probably too many to reach out to, Isons, right? So now again, I set up my alert and I've got a daily alert of new people. Maybe I just want to send them a card saying congratulations on the new position, or something to kind of get my foot in the door. So now I've got a list set the daily alert of new hires that are worthwhile to reach out to. Expansions, same deal. Acquisitions is really great on the candidate side. So if I see somebody that's been acquired, I know that there's a chunk of candidates that are either now have been made redundant or want to leave for other reasons, or maybe they got a boatload of money and looking to start something new. Right. There's just a list of people there that you're going to want to reach out to. Same thing for restructuring. Pause for questions. Johnny, you want anything on that front?
No, for those of you that are watching live, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments, and I will ask them on your behalf to Alistair here. But I think this is, I love it, man. I think there's so much opportunity just with the identify, because of exactly what you said. You have all those kind of different trigger points that usually indicate some sort of hiring is going to be happening, and I think that's awesome stuff right there.
Yeah, excellent. So once you've identified somebody you want to reach out to, and let's see, we got Rivian. So I can research this company. So I'm going to open these folks in the research tab. Now I'm going to figure out who to reach out to, other company news, any jobs that they're hiring for. I can look at their tech stack, see what their Glassdoor rating is, find some similar companies. So here we are at Rivian. I'm going to, IT, Vice President of IT. I'm going to hit research here on Madavi. And we're going to look for if he's been on any podcasts. We're going to see if he's been on Twitter. Or we can take a look at Charles Sanderson. Look for podcasts, Twitter. These people are boring. See what's going on with Helen here. Funny enough, a lot of people have been on podcasts. A lot of people have their Twitter going. The next step in evolution, going back to what you're asking about, like, are we done developing? The next step is to break down the decision maker tree even further. So you can look for just the decision makers in IT or just the decision makers in HR.
Got it.
So that's the kind of next step on this. You can find their email address. You can look at their LinkedIn profile. So what we're doing here is we're bringing in 20 minutes worth of research that you want to do on a company before reaching out into one interface. Okay.
Got it.
You also get to see what kind of jobs they're hiring for. So, hey, we specialize in homologation. It'd be a great set of people to reach out to right there as well. And then, hey, I noticed that you guys are the next big Tesla. I drive a Tesla. I can't wait to get in a Rivian. Send them a nice one, catch their attention. If you're in the tech recruiting side of things, you always want to know what they're running. So let's look at their marketing tech and tech in general. Everything on their website will be listed here. So if I specialize in PHP developers, great. I know they're at least using PHP. If I specialize in, I'm not a tech person in terms of development, but hey, we specialize in Google Analytics. Great. We know we're using them. We might use that as a way in the door here. So basically what we're doing is, in the research side of things, to send a warm email or have a warm phone call, you're gonna have all the information you need to do that in one spot. So you're not just clicking around on the web all day long.
Right.
Cool. Questions on this piece? Cool.
No, I think that's good, man. And so you basically, with the research, like, as you put in, are you putting in like in a specific company there?
Yeah. So I found an article that had Rivian in it. I just clicked open this company in research. So we're looking at Rivian specifically here.
Sweet. And then it'll give you a couple of decision makers that they think are going to be the most, best people to go after.
Absolutely. Now, one thing you can do, so we're going to talk about nurture here, but before we get there, you can add Rivian company news to your websites and keywords. What that's going to do is, in your daily digest, it's going to add in any Rivian news. So again, you're having fresh articles. One thing I like to do, or I recommend people do, is post articles about your company. Tag them in it. It's going to catch their attention. So, hey, post this on LinkedIn and write about how excited you are with Rivian's new truck. Tag the company in there, and chances are people will see that in their feed. They're working Rivian. Go look at your profile, and it'll give you a chance to chat with them a little bit.
Yep.
Right.
Love it.
Cool. So nurture in general. What it's going to do is it's going to find content that's going to be relevant for you, your industry, and your audience. Okay. So see here we have this diversity and inclusion. Put in here. Let's just do JavaScript. I don't know. And San Francisco. So I specialize in Java developers. I want to see all the news that's going on about JavaScript in San Francisco. Go away, Darren. Not you, Darren. That's the guy that popped up is Darren. Sorry about that same name. I'll have it there. Or we could do, I don't know, cannabis and job growth, right? Let's say I specialize in the cannabis industry, right? So now we're going to get all sorts of articles about the cannabis industry. And I can turn myself into the cannabis guy on LinkedIn if I want, by just sharing articles and writing comments and little blurbs about them without having to go out and curate all that content myself. So it's not just for the web, but it's also Medium, YouTube, podcasts, wherever you want to get your content from. And again, set those up as alerts. Now, one thing that's really nice to do is being active on LinkedIn is crucial, and having relevant content outside of the content you create, because this, if we're being honest, it's very hard to create enough of your own original content to not be boring. So we've got this content suggestion engine. And so what you do is you tell it how often you want to have content suggested to you. And it's only going to suggest content if you don't have something already scheduled that day. The idea being you need to post a certain amount of time per week to stay in front of your audience, to reach everybody, to become that thought leader. But creating all that original content, as I said, is hard.
Mm-hmm.
So he set up, hey, suggest some content for me to share. Contact me by email or text message, where you want to share it to when it sends it to you, and where you want to get that content from. So the content's going to be the alerts that you've set up. So I've got alerts set for staffing companies that were acquired. I've got looking for chief information officers in California that just had an expansion in their company. So I've got all these different types of alerts. I've got a bunch of news alerts here. I'm looking for trucking and recruitment and job skills acquisition. And so in that daily digest, I'm going to get some relevant articles that I'd want to share with my network, to build out that personal brand and the company brand. Or if you do it by text message, this is pretty cool. You can handle everything by text as well, because we all get enough emails. So to round out my personal brand, going back to being in Montana here, and the total lack of snow, I like to talk about the ski industry going to clean energy. So the system found me an article about Vail and their new sustainability program. I like that. I wanted to share it with my network, but very important, I wrote my own status update to go with that article. So my status update, I just wrote via text message. So
got it.
glad to see that 12 minutes there.
So you responded to the text that sent it to you to the platform automated. You respond back, and then that's what it's going to actually share.
Exactly. It's going to share this article along with my own status update, my 2 cents, because what I've discovered is a lot of people, actually the vast majority of people, don't actually go through and read the article, but the vast majority of people also read your 2 cents on it. So as a way to act as a thought leader is just borrow other people's content, put your own thoughts on it, and now guess what? You're leading with your thought, makes you a thought leader.
Right.
And it's also good, just people know now that you're up to speed on the industry, they know what you're all about, and they just slowly get to know you over time through impressions.
Right.
And that's the key, is give people little snippets, little tidbits of yourself over time as they get to know you. Because then when you do pick up the phone, they're like, oh, I know Alistair. How do I know that guy? Oh yeah, he's the clean energy guy on LinkedIn.
Right.
So you're able to warm up those conversations.
Yep.
I talk fast and talk a lot. I'm going to take a breather. Anything you want to jump in with, Donnie?
Well, I mean, you've mentioned a couple of times, about staying regular and posting on LinkedIn, which I 100% agree with. But I'm just curious, like, what is the frequency that you guys recommend?
We recommend 3 times per week. I can't remember where I pulled the stat from. Basically, if you're posting 3 times a week, that's going to reach 80% of your audience per month. So you at least get 1 impression with 80% of your connections every month. And then the thing is, as soon as somebody starts to engage with your content, you're going to be put in their feed more and more frequently. So the more consistent you are, the higher chance you have of somebody engaging with one of your posts and then being much more present in that person's feed when they're scrolling. So
got it. Yep, makes sense. Makes sense. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the other thing is, like, that's what we recommend is kind of the minimum. If you want to post more than that, as long as it's good content, you're going to do fine. And I always give people the example of you're building a brand, right? How often do you see progressive advertisements when you're watching a football game? They're like every 4th ad.
Yep.
You're not like, hey, I'm tired of getting to know progressive. It's just, it's just out there. So the more people get to know your name, the more likely you are to be front of their mind when they're ready to do some business.
Yep. Love it. Love it. Can you share, can you show us the actual end result? Like you showed us the text message. Can you show what actually shows up on LinkedIn?
Yeah. So, so if I get a text message, it's going to create a proper post. So here I got this. This is actually somebody in my company, and we'll talk about that in just a second, because you want to build the company brand alongside your personal brand. So this person wanted me to share this article. I said yes via text message. I didn't need to write my own status update because I knew Amber here is going to write a better one than I'm going to write because she's a professional marketer. I said yes, and it actually creates a proper status update with your image, with the hashtags in here, with the company page tagged. And I literally, my involvement with participating in the company marketing program was just texting back yes. And I'm there acting as an amplifier to my thousands of connections.
Right. Can you dive a little bit deeper on how companies have the ability, with one person maybe creating content, but then other people can share that? And I know that the other day, I think when you were explaining to me that they can share it as an actual shared post, or they can actually take and make that their own post, if I understood that correctly.
Correct. Yes. So if I'm going to just create a post here, so this is an interface to create a status update for LinkedIn and for Twitter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose who in my company I want to have also post this. So I can pick just the sales team. So I can type here sales. Now the sales folks are going to pop up, or I can do it by location. So now I'm just going to send this to everybody in the London office. All right. I'm going to write a great update. Got a great update with lots of good info here. I can add an image from my computer, like you just, you would on LinkedIn. You can put an image in there. We got a GIF engine, so let's just do a live test. What do we get for Reno? We were chatting about Reno earlier. Reno 911.
Reno 911 there.
All right. We even got a meme creator if you want to turn it into a meme. So give us a second to load here. All right, so we got the GIF. All right, people dancing. I'm going to drop in a link here, link to an article. I'm going to title this, "Not All Reno is Like This. Get hired in Reno." Dance it up. That's a terrible meme, but I'm just showing the capabilities here, right? Mm-hmm. So essentially what I've done is I've created a very robust post. I'm going to schedule this post. So I'm going to schedule this post to go out, next Wednesday. If it's something I got coming up, like a webinar or an event, I can always set it up to reshare it a couple of times before I cut it off. Mm-hmm. So I could set it up, hey, repost this every 4 days up until February 1st. And that's great for webinars, other things where you really want to drive some attendance. And then when I hit share here, it's going to text or email these people in this box, and that's where this came from. So I just said yes. And I've got a full, robust post. And the reason we built this is marketing teams historically would email everybody in the sales department and say, we've got this webinar, attendance is important, please go post this. Or they say, we just have a new white paper. Or they've got like a company picture they want to use for employer branding purposes, or just, to build up that personal brand. Mm-hmm. Those emails would get ignored. So we said, how can we make it as painless as possible? Well, people text a lot. So it's just text back yes, and it'll post it as if you've done it yourself. And the other thing is, so if it's just a company update or something that that you just want people to like, you can also set it up to, hey, just go and automatically like this post on LinkedIn. So instead of emailing folks or Slack messaging and saying, can you guys go like my post so I'll get more traction, you can just set it up to do that automatically. You're not bothering your colleagues to get some likes, because the LinkedIn algorithms, if they see people liking your post, they think it's a good post, they're going to show it to more people. So it's a way to almost game the system and get more likes out there.
Yep. Sweet. So you can have them either copy and duplicate the post. You can have them like the post. Is there a way to share your post too?
No, we don't recommend that. The reason is, if you go and reshare somebody else's post, it gets 1/8 to 1/10 the traction as if you're to post it yourself natively. So that's not to say don't reshare other people's posts. It's just, if you post it like it's your own post, you're going to get 8 to 10 times the eyeballs on that post.
Right. Love it. Very cool. Very cool. I know one of the things we talked about the other day is like, okay, so I've got a team of 10 or 15 people. You write this piece of content. They go share that piece of content, but then there's some crossover of the same people in the network. What kind of feedback have you had from that type of a thing?
We haven't had zero. We've got 200 clients. It hasn't come up as a problem yet. The reason for that is, if you've got 5,000 people in your network and you look at the mutual connections, it's usually 70 or 80. And most of the things people are posting are company updates, and it just goes by without a thought.
Right.
So it is key to write in the right voice. Don't say I am Alistair and this is my post, because then it's like, why are you? It's about using the right voice. But yeah, we haven't had any problems so far.
Sweet, man. Awesome stuff, dude.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just the last little bit. So going back to my examples, if you have a piece of content and you email your sales team and say, please share this, you don't know if they did unless you go to every person's profile and see if they've posted it. You also don't know how successful that post has been. So what you can see here is how active the person's been, the clicks that they've driven back to your website if you're sharing articles, how engaging those posts have been in terms of comments, reactions. And because you're reducing their participation to a text message or literally clicking one button on an email, you can figure out how much productivity you've saved that person by not interrupting their day too much. It's like, hey, you don't need to log into Twitter and LinkedIn and copy and paste this post and go through all the process. It's like, just text back yes, it goes live. It's 5 seconds. So we're saving that person some time throughout the day as well.
Yeah. Very cool. Now we've pretty much highlighted LinkedIn. What other platforms does this connect with?
Works with LinkedIn, Twitter, and the company Facebook page.
Sweet. Not to put you on the spot, but if you have something to share, like, is there any kind of case studies, usage studies of what your clients have seen from this?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a few case studies, and then you can also go to our website where we've got the wall of love. You can see what folks are saying about us, and then there's a whole bunch of case studies up on our page at paiger.co.
Got anything specific, any kind of results that have come off the top of your head that you can share right now? Or
It's funny, I haven't read the Smart Recruiter case study in a bit, but I just know they had some event coming up in the fall, and Smart Recruiters has a decent sized sales team, and they got like 500% of the estimated traffic simply by using Paiger that they had planned on. They're like, we need to get X people to attend, and just because their entire sales team was out there, pushing it. And you think about the size of the network, instead of just the company page being, 10,000 followers, you got 30 salespeople. Now you're up in the 300,000 follower type situation. They just got way more traffic than they expected from using Paiger.
That's awesome, man. Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing everything, man. Anything else that you want to leave us with on that?
Since it's staffing based, can't leave without talking about posting some jobs.
Yep. I
want to show you a person here. So Amber's a client. She works in Novant Health, which is a major hospital system in the Southeast. And so a lot of recruiters will write like a boring status update, say, hey, I'm looking for a so-and-so. It's a text-based post. Or if it has an image, they have to go find the image. What we do at Paiger is we can automate that process. So what you do is you tell the system how often you want to share a job to your networks, maybe once a day, maybe a couple of times a week, or maybe just once a week. And our system will create a fully branded automatic image that's clickable, along with some relevant hashtags and a link over to that job on the career site. So rather than having a boring text-based post, now you've got a clickable on-brand image that takes literally 0 time out of your day once you've set up that frequency. So there's one example, and here's another one. Principal analyst. It's got a little blurb. It's got some hashtags, company logo, and this takes this person 0 time. So it's just a nice way to let people know the types of jobs you're recruiting for. And the more people see your logo and your name, the more likely they are to pick up your phone call or answer an email.
Right. So all those images and everything are populated on the back end there.
Yeah, totally. You set it up once. You can rotate through multiple images, multiple designs, and then you just turn it on and let it run at that frequency that you choose.
Awesome, man. What is, kind of a separate question outside of the technology? I mean, what are you finding like in terms of the learning curve for people to adopt this? And I know that's obviously there's a lot of variable there, but I mean, it's obviously a new tool, software. People are, sometimes are like, I don't know if I want to go down that path. I mean, what are you finding there?
Yeah. So the software itself, as you can see, is pretty easy to use. The most important thing is how you use it. So it generally takes about a month to get everything dialed in perfectly. It'll take you 20 minutes to set it up the first time. Mm-hmm. But as you start to see what your network responds to, you're going to want to go in and adjust your alerts so you can be super industry specific and really getting that content dialed in for you. And that's just a continuous improvement. Hey, this type of article is resonating with the network, or maybe you're getting some alerts like, it's always careful with recruiting because there's a lot of college football articles out there.
Right.
So it's one of those things like, hey, I put in the search for Java. I did an example earlier today with Java. And I got a bunch of coffee shop articles, right? So it's about getting your alerts dialed in to where they're like on point. And once you do that, you don't need to log in. You just can do everything via text message, or just with the Chrome app if you're the company. So if you're on a company site, let's just go to right. The Chrome app is pretty sweet. So I'm here at Cushman & Wakefield. I'm doing some research on this company. Rather than click around, I can simply use our little Chrome app here and just go research this company, and it's going to pull up that research tab. Now I'm in the system. So.
Got it. So like if you wanted to follow certain companies, you can just go around one day and just create all the companies you want to follow and then get all the alerts on them.
Exactly. So I'm just going to add this to my website to keywords. Now I'm up to speed on everything going on at Cushman.
Except for Kayla Cushman there. Like you're saying.
It's funny talking about alerts.
Yep.
Hey, other than her, yeah. Right. That's a perfect example of getting those alerts dialed in.
Exactly. The alerts dialed in. Yeah, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff, dude. I love it. How, if people are interested, in, exploring the software more, like what would be the next steps be?
Yeah, because people that they hear about it through you, we're happy to set up a free trial for them. Really
Yep.
drive the car before you buy it. And then on that, if you go to paiger.co, the intercom chat box comes to me during my working hours. We've got teams in London as well if you're East Coast and you're up early. Or you can just send me an email or reach out to Donnie, and Donnie will put you in touch with me.
Beautiful. Thank you, man. And like you said, like you just heard him say, if you reach out and connect with me, I'll introduce you and he'll get you started with a free trial there. Definitely take advantage of that. I think this is a great opportunity for recruiters to, I know, speaking with hundreds and thousands of you guys, that time is always the most precious element. And this definitely is going to save a ton of that. Plus with the ability to, help deliver results and make you aware of people hiring and keeping yourself top of mind. I mean, these are all the things that we all know are necessary to grow our businesses. So Alistair, thank you for being here and hanging with us today, man, showing this awesome product.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks so much for having me.
Yep. Relevant Recruiter Group, we will see you next time, next Friday, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll see everybody then. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.